Hey guys, Tucker Antell here with another Tucker's tutorial video. Today's Wednesday workout features a scale I really like to practice to work on neighbor tones. The sheet music in all 12 keys can be found on my website at tuckerantell.com under the tutorial section. At the end of the sheet there's actually a couple of ideas that I wrote down to practice it in other ways too, which we'll cover in the video. So a lot of you probably practice major scales in several different ways, and one of my favorites is thirds. But we're going to put a twist on that, because before we make that jump up on major third, we're going to visit the neighbor tone below the note we're on. So if we're playing a C scale this way, we're going to go C, lower neighbor tone B, C again, and then we make the jump to E. Then we go up to the next note in the C major scale, which is a D, and we're going to go D, C sharp, D. Now why C sharp? Because the lower neighbor tones should be half steps to give it that leading tone feel and emphasize the note that you're on. So if we continue on up the major scale like that, it sounds like this. So kind of a cool sound to it, and you end up visiting all the neighbor tones below the notes that you're on. Sometimes those neighbor tones below are actually already in the scale. It kind of depends on where you are. To go down the scale, descending, we're going to do the opposite, which is we're going to visit the upper neighbor tone. And for the upper neighbor tone, we're going to stay within the major scale. We're not going to use half steps or anything, unless they're already there. And then we jump down. So C, D, C, then down a third to an A. Then we start on B, the next note down, B, C, B, then a third down, G. That sounds like this. So, the next thing to do is turn the metronome on and gradually pick up the speed, nice and smooth. And I actually really like to practice these kinds of things completely slurred at first to make sure that my fingers are doing everything with great timing and I'm not masking any mistimings with my tongue. So you work on those through all 12 keys. You work on them in the biggest range that you can, so more than one octave in most cases. And then once you've gotten that under your fingers, there are a couple of cool ways that you can use this for soloing right away. And one of those is something that I was looking at a Sonny Rollins transcription recently, and I saw him using this, and it's a very common way to do this, is to change the rhythm a little bit to where the first three notes on the descending version of this are actually faster. They're 16th note triplets, and then you land on the fourth note as an eighth note, almost like you're landing on it. And that kind of sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you hear that a lot from different players. It actually doesn't have to be completely done in a sequence like that. You could add it just a couple of times in the middle of a line. That might sound something like this. A little slower. So I was using the concert G, A, G, E there, but I was doing the triplet to eighth note version. Another cool way you can practice this, to make it even more difficult, is to play it as a triplet. Of course, there's 4 notes in this particular scale pattern, so if you play a triplet, that means it's going to have that 4 against 3 feel and start moving around on you. Best to do with the metronome to feel what that feels like, or a backing track, for instance. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that feels completely different, and it's really a great way to practice too. Another way that you could change this is to not always start on the beat. If you're doing the eighth notes, try starting off the beat, and that means that the notes are moved over a little bit. So instead of going, try starting it off the beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or you could try moving it over even more, starting it as a pickup. This can kind of throw off the feel of it a little bit and make it something completely new. We've only been doing major scales, and that's all I have written on there, but if you want, you can apply this to minor scales as well, and you can apply it to a whole tone scale, you can apply it to a diminished scale. It's really just the shape, really, that is important for this. So I hope that you guys can find some uses for that, and that you enjoyed. The next video is going to be on Friday with a Friday finish line where I play a lick, and then you guys can transcribe it and send me how you finish that lick. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will see you guys then.